Hello and welcome to using ChatGPT to improve your classroom practice. Now, this was part of a CPL that was ran last Monday, and what we wanted to do was just show you the nuts and bolts and the workings behind the actual explaining, because this was rather text heavy and it just demonstrated sort of the process and the outcome. What we want to do here is just show you the workings behind everything. So I'm going to guide us through this using the slides within the CPL that was there. So if you didn't come to the CPL, that's absolutely fine. You can, if I hold this up on the screen, you'll be able to get this this presentation to your device if you pause the video now, and then you can go and see, and you can go along with this, and you can see further ahead if need be. So without further ado, let's go to the preface, and some things may not work, so don't panic about some things not working. It may not work during this demonstration, it may work differently during this demonstration. We're not going to worry about that too much. I will say though that you may see this screen occur every now and again. Don't panic if you do, that's just the recording. That's just the behind the scenes of this recording. So you can use GPT 3.5 as well as version 4. Version 4 is the paid for version. 3.5 will work, however you may need to do some extra legwork using convert.io or convertio.io. In order to take a PDF into text and then take the text out of that PDF and use that text. Everything is centered around gathering text of some kind in order to give it to this LLM. And I will mention an LLM fairly often. LLM stands for Large Language Model, and it's a little bit easier than saying ChatGPT because it can get caught up in your teeth. So frustration is part and parcel of the process. So this was by no means a straightforward process, and it took several hours in order for the whole process to work from beginning to end. So perseverance is absolutely key, and you'll see this if you go and try this out yourself. So the rationale here is to work within the needs of a framework that is information heavy. So the PDF that you're going to see me work with is extremely large. In its two forms, one's about 10 megabytes, the other one's about 110 megabytes. And one of them is an entire book made by Tom Sherrington and illustrated by Olivia Caglioli. And the other part is the actual genesis of the walkthroughs by Tom Sherrington, which is Barrett Rosenshine's Principles of Instruction. So there are lots of text in there that a human cannot sift through, and even in the coaching conversations, it's very difficult to expand beyond 2 or 3 parts within the books, and really sort of narrowing down to one within a coaching conversation is probably preferable, because it gives the coachee sort of chance to sort of gather their thoughts on the video that they're watching, and then also gather their thoughts on the questions that they are going to be asking, as well as listening to you describe what's going on within your class and why you've chosen this particular example. To use a framework where the goal is data oriented. So the goal within this is to gather data so that there is some kind of benchmark that you can sort of measure yourself against, or measure myself against in this instance, was that I wanted to repeat this process over and over again in order to make the mode A to mode B more fluid, as well as creating a better scenario and outcome for the students themselves. And you'll see that the change happens based on the outcomes of using the LLM in itself. But what I needed to do is grade it and have some sort of marker, and so just to say whether clearly this number equals this, and has it increased, and is it lower, and why is it lower, and why is it higher, and what is different between each section. So repeat and repeat and repeat has that sort of scientific process where you are able to repeat the same process with the same surroundings and factors. To use the LLM to combine both large amounts of information and process it to provide data points for improvement. So exactly what I'm just saying. I need to have points along the way so that I can grade myself and basically feel better about what I'm doing. So walkthroughs, modeling and explaining. So I've just explained this. This side here is Barrett Rosenshine's Principles of Instruction. Within the LLM itself, ChatGPT, I basically, the initial part of it was I gave ChatGPT and asked it to be a person. In this case, I give it the whole biography, workings, life, and academic life of Barrett Rosenshine, and said, be Barrett Rosenshine, what do you think of this lesson? In the walkthroughs, I just gave it the PDF in the paid-for version, but we can show you how to sort of circumvent the paid versions. You're going to need some technical equipment. Using a handheld device is probably not a good idea unless you have it mobile and you have someone with your mobile device on a gimbal, or you're close to the microphone, or the place is extremely quiet. You have microphones that are called wide field microphones on devices, and they pick up every single stray voice, whistle, crack, knock within 30 feet. So they're not great because they don't isolate the sound. What we want to be able to do is use the mics and the lavalier mics. In this case, I use these. These are ones in school. These are Samaronics, and so this goes through the buttons of your shirt and clips onto your lapel, and then this sort of hooks onto your belt or your pocket, and then it gets a nice balanced voice that is extremely clear and localized to you. So the same with the students. When you're talking to the students, you'll see in the examples in a moment that the clip itself can just be clipped straight onto a student's item of clothing, and it will listen to them very clearly and isolate their voice against everything else happening in the classroom. You'll need a YouTube account for this, obviously, so you can probably use a school account for this, is what I use. And then the accuracy largely depends on the microphone itself. So this is the set. This is what it looks like. You can see how far away I am from the camera itself. And so what I'm interested in, both this conversation, and you'll hear me talking in the video, and hopefully the transcript that goes into ChatGPT, the LLM will be able to take the entire text and dissect it clearly. It also dissects the questions here. Children are quite quiet, so there's one or two voices happening at the same time when we're questioning here. So then we go into the mode A. So here we've got a student who's next to Alina. So Alina isn't really using the iPad. She's not really using the tutors. She's just reading this. Whereas the other students want to go and follow a video tutorial that I have that goes with every single section. This is important because it gives ChatGPT context, and I'll talk about this, the importance of these tutorials later on, in order to accurately score me, because it does ask, what is the background of what the students are learning. So inside here, Alina has found a technique that is unique within this class, and then what happens then is the girls around her have gone and shared this technique and have demonstrated to all the other students around the class, sharing this knowledge and bringing everybody up to speed. So once you've got the video sort of recorded and spliced together and edited together, you then need YouTube transcripts. So if I just show you YouTube transcript, when you go into your YouTube transcript, you enter the URL in here like this, and then you hit go and you get the transcript. We'll show you how that works in just a tick. So then we add it to ChatGPT and say, basically, can you summarize this text? And I need it to understand what's going on. So let's go and have a look at that. Let's go and see what it's going to do for us. So this is the entire text of the video. So inside my YouTube studio, I've got the conversation right here, and I put it into the YouTube transcript, and I just ask it to copy the entire transcript, and then I can just literally paste it into a text. There's no grammar here. There's there's even some spelling mistakes, or where it may use numbers instead of the actual words themselves, which is absolutely fine. And then, so what do you think do you think is happening in this transcript? And then I ask it, make sure that it knows and understands what's going on, okay, which is exactly here. So this is more or less similar to what's happening in the live version. If you're using 3.5, there's nothing to worry about. So in the PDF, which I'm going to show you in a second, I'm going to pause this video and let you work on all these bits and pieces yourself, and then come back to part 2. So the goal here, can we compare a transcript with walkthrough directives? So Convertio.io, you can see here that I've uploaded a PDF, and what I do then is I make the conversion type into TXT, and I can take the text out of that and use that text within ChatGPT, just like I have in the box that's above here. So if you're using GPT version 4, of course, and you pay for it, which is about 700 baht a month, it's about $20 a month, you can use the entire PDF. So I'm going to pause it here. I'm going to let you digest that, and I'll see you in the next part.